There are a couple of Cardinals players that are forcing some issues on the opening day roster, and we have to talk about it. Plus, our pitching depth continues to look phenomenal, including one guy who I might have been wrong on. Welcome into the St. Louis Cardinals Daily Podcast. My name is Andrew Teuscher, and Joshua Baez has made himself known amongst Cardinals nations. I know a lot of people already knew the name, a lot of people because he's been a prospect that we've been excited about all year. He has incredible athletic traits, but really in spring training, hadn't heard much from him. It really wasn't terrible either way. He wasn't being, a complete strikeout problem and looking like he doesn't belong in the big leagues, but he also wasn't soaring until this weekend when he just popped off. On Friday versus the Orioles, he humbly went 1-for-1 with the walk, but that one hit was a nuke to the outfield, hitting the ball over the wall for his first home run of spring training, and then the bat stayed hot, and Baez got himself another bomb on Saturday versus the Mets. And to be clear, against the Mets at least, this was just no minor leaguer who had no business throwing this pitch in the first place. On Friday it was, to be frank. It was late in the game against some guys that probably won't be seeing a ton of playing time, but on Saturday it was against Kodai Senga, the ace of the New York Mets, unless Nolan McLean takes that spot. But regardless, and a great pitcher in the big leagues is who Joshua Baez took deep. And I know it's one at-bat in spring training. Well, 2 at-bats in spring training with these home runs. And I know it's only spring training, and these stats don't mean a ton, but it lets you know how guys are feeling. If guys are having terrible spring trainings, it's hard to explain away. So you want to see guys, if they're going to be ready for the big leagues eventually, have good spring trainings. And that's what Joshua Baez is doing. His spring stats so far is 6 for 18, now with 2 home runs. I believe that's leading the club in home runs at this point. Might be just behind Gorman. I don't remember if he's at 2 or 3 at this point, but still, 333 average, 429 on base, getting his walks in there, and a 667 slugging percentage. Yes, please. That is exactly what we were hoping Joshua Baez can be in the big leagues, is a guy who can rake, hit for some pop that we desperately need, and apply some athleticism because his minor league stats show that's exactly who he is. Keep in mind some refreshers on Joshua Baez. He's a guy who we brought in and everyone was excited about because it was clear he's huge, he's fast, he's athletic, he can do everything. Clearly, he needed to develop. He was 18 when we brought him in. So now he's finally getting there. He's approaching the big leagues. He escaped A-ball because all throughout A-ball, he couldn't get out of there for years. It took him 3 or 4 years to get out of just single A-ball because he couldn't stop striking out. And then last year, a flip switched, and all of a sudden, he started hitting for average along with his power, and the strikeouts went way, way down. 271 last year with a 374 on base and a 509 slugging. Wouldn't the big league team like to have a player that's slugging 509? Obviously, it'll go down. The major league will be a lot harder to do that than in the minor leagues, but still. The Cardinals need this exact archetype on the team to be exciting. We love Alec Burleson. We love Mason Wynn, but they don't have the pop that Joshua Baez might have. He was also the only minor leaguer other than Connor Griffin, who's regarded as one of the best hitting prospects since Bryce Harper. One of the only guys other than him to go 20-50 home runs, stolen bases as well. He's a freak. He's going to be incredible for this team, and he's already performing in spring training. Now, what the Cardinals don't want to do is they don't want to make the mistake that they made with Jordan Walker, where he had a decent spring training, so we rushed him on up way before he was ready to go as a guy who was also big athletic and struggles with strikeouts. They want to see him master AAA. So I am not saying that Joshua Baez is going to make the Major League roster on opening day. I'll say there's a long shots chance. If this just tear never stops, sure. I'd give it a 10% chance he makes it. That's probably even too high. 5 or 10% chance he makes the big league roster. Heimblum even came out to really confirm this over this weekend on KMOX with Tom Ackerman and said, Baez has some pop. We know we need that both short and long term. He's going to have every chance to be a part of that core. We just got to make sure we aren't selling short that journey and making sure we don't skip steps. They're not making the Jordan Walker mistake again with Joshua Baez. We know how great he can be, but we're not going to rush him up until he shows for sure that he's ready to go. That being said, it's worth asking, when will we see Joshua Baez get promoted? We saw it last year in the minors, and now spring training's kind of showing it might have been real. So how long do we have to see Joshua Baez hit well? And more importantly, Jordan Walker and Victor Scott II continue to look terrible in the big leagues before a Joshua Baez promotion happens? A genuine question. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I think you got to wait at least a little while, give him a month or two, but not much longer. Jordan Walker in his spring is hitting .211 with 0 extra base hits on his ledger. Yeah, so he's just not changed. Guess what, guys? He's hitting balls hard, and they're on the ground. He's just the same guy right now. We were told his swing has changed. It's not so far. I'm giving him spring training, just like I'm not willing to say Joshua Baez, because of 3 weeks of spring training, is now a god king, and he's ready to destroy. He's the next Aaron Judge. I'm not saying that. I'm also willing to say give Jordan Walker more time, give him the start of the regular season, but at a career 240 on average, 302 on base, and 378 slug. The man who is the size and bat speed of Aaron Judge has a 378 slug. He's not ever going to be the player we want him to be if that is what keeps happening. It's unacceptable. 240 average, honestly, if Corbin was hitting that, we'd be thrilled. The issue is you cannot have a sub 400 slugging percentage and expect to be an everyday player. He hasn't hit more than 6 home runs in a season since 2023. Victor Scott II has to be on lookout too. Joshua Baez has played some center field, specifically last year. They were getting him some reps there. Victor Scott II, 216 average career with a 601 OPS. Yeah, he plays phenomenal defense. And Jordan Walker, frankly, plays some good defense out in right field. But if a guy is going to be hitting like that and our outfield desperately needs pop, when do we see Joshua Baez come up? How long do you guys want to wait? May, I think, is where the earliest I could possibly see Joshua Baez making his debut. I'd say give Jordan Walker, Victor Scott 2 months to suffer. Not because we need to compete or anything, but at some point you need to figure out what you have in some of these other guys and not delay development either. Give him the big league reps when it doesn't matter for Joshua Baez. We'll certainly see him in the back half. I think he's pretty much confirming sometime in 2026, unless things completely flub in the minor leagues, Joshua Baez will come up to the team at some point and give us some reps that will mean a lot for what the future could be for this big league club. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments section. One ad real quick for you guys. Ultra Pouches is, yes again, partnering with us. Ultra Pouches, if you guys are using a stimulant, and you're tired of the cortisol spiking effects that it's causing you, caffeine, nicotine, Adderall, you like something to help give you a little bit of juice, but you don't like the effects it's having, well, Ultra Pouches is a great alternative to maybe some other stimulants that you are currently using. Ultra is the ultimate guilt-free pouch, delivering an instant focus and mental clarity without nicotine or caffeine. New customers can use code FANARCH as you see below to get 15% off at takeultra.com. That's takeultra.com for 15% off using code FANARCH. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support them and tell them where you heard about them and use our code. Another guy on the Cardinals is forcing an issue on the team, and it's a good problem to have. Having players doing well, it's better than everyone doing poorly, but Yoel Pozo is just raking in spring training, and all signs are pointing towards the Cardinals having a 3-catcher rotation, at least 3 quote-unquote catchers on the big league roster going on opening day. Derek Gould mentioned on X that 5 players were optioned to AAA. They're making more and more cuts out of camp. We're going to whittle this thing down to a 26-man opening day roster. And, well, it was pretty significant who was sent down, especially for the hopes of Yoel Pozo. Tink Hinn sent down. I think that's noteworthy. There was a shot he was going to make the bullpen out of spring if he looked really well and his fastball was lively. It was a longer shot, but he's gone on down. Cesar Prieto has gone down. Brian Torres has gone down, which that was another guy we thought could play in the outfield. But significantly for this purpose, Leo Bernal and Jimmy Crooks, who was looking excellent in spring training, has been sent down. They've been saying for a long time they want Pedro Pages to be, not just they want, Pedro Pages is the opening day starting catcher, and that's what this means, because he's looked terrible, absolutely horrible in spring training. Ivan Herrera obviously was going to make the roster no matter where he's playing. We're looking like he's going to play catcher at least a couple times a week. The guy who had to play for his roster spot was Yoel Pozo. Multiple people projected him to not make the big league roster and start in AAA. just because he wasn't the young guy. But he forced his way onto the roster because of what he's doing in spring training and what he did last year. 7 for 16 in spring, 2 doubles, 1 home run, 3 walks, and 0 strikeouts because the dude always makes contact with the baseball. New slim, thick Joel Pozo is looking like a legitimate hitter. 438 average. Love it. 526 on base. Give me more of it. And a 750 slug to go with it. He's been the best hitter on the Cardinals in spring training with a 1.276 OPS. Joel Pozo, the big man behind the dish, who's now not as big and probably won't be playing much behind the dish, is going to be on the opening day roster at this point. That's what the sending down of Jimmy Crooks tells you. I can't say I love it. I know Joel Pozo's earning his spot. Let Joel Pozo earn his spot. I just don't see the need for Pedro Paz. I know it's handling the pitching staff, but come on. Jimmy Crooks, it's what he's known for. He's known for being a leader and a good defensive catcher. That's what Pedro Paz is known for. The difference, Jimmy Crooks has upside as a hitter that we haven't realized yet. We know what Pedro Paz is. We don't know what Jimmy Crooks is. And we've heard the things that are developed are the things that Paz already has. I don't get it. I get it, but I don't like it. I guess I'll put it that way. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. This isn't about Pozo. It's more about Crooks. And Crooks and Bernal are projected to split AAA work at that level. Adam Akbani on X had a good point that they'll probably just split 50-50 because Crooks caught 61% of games last year, and AAA and Bernal caught 63% in AA. So it won't be a huge difference if they each catch about a game less a week in order to make up for that. So it won't be the end of the world, but Pedro Paz, you're on notice. You have to be. The guys hitting behind you are much better hitters, and the minor leaguers are just as good at fielding as you are. So let's see what happens there. I'm not hoping bad on Paz, but it's just, let's be real about what's going on. Speaking of being real about what's going on, couple of Cardinals pitchers look good this weekend, including one guy I was totally wrong on, Kyle Leahy. I was just trying to get out in front of it and say, at some point, we need to open ourselves up to the fact that we shouldn't force Kyle Leahy to on the opening day roster if you looked this bad in spring. And, well, he finally had himself a great spring outing, which he needed. Because if he was going to keep having bad outings like he was having, he was not going to make the opening day roster. But he pitched 4 perfect innings. 0 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, and 5 strikeouts again in 4 innings. 12 men up, 12 men down. Kyle Leahy, that's big for making yourself an opening day starter. Huge for him. I'm happy for him. I want Kyle Leahy to work out. I want every pitcher to work out. I'd love to have a surplus. Speaking of more pitching depth working out, Michael McGreevy also pitched this weekend on Friday versus the Orioles. 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 4 strikeouts, another solid outing, and he got to debut a new pitch. He's calling it his mini slider. He already had a slider, but basically he realized his slider is more of a sweeper. So now we're knowing that Michael McGreevy will have a slider and a sweeper, which the slider is important because he needs a pitch to help with lefties out, and according to McGreevy in his own words, that's why he wants to throw this new quote-unquote mini slider to help with lefties, and he needs it because lefties last year slugged .502 against him with 9 home runs. In less innings than against righties, where he only gave up 4 home runs and a .317 slug. Honestly, I didn't realize the splits were that bad. And if he can develop a pitch that gets lefties out, it would explain why his spring has been so good. If he can continue to do that, Michael McGreevy goes from a good 5th starter to being more of a 3-2 kind of guy. If he can get lefties out, because again, .317 slugging against righties, love to see that. Keep that up, McGreevy. Keep it up, Leahy. Let me know what you guys think about those guys. Are you excited about McGreevy and Leahy and our pitching depth? It's looking way more exciting than I ever would have guessed. When do you want a Joshua Baez call up? And are you also watching Pedro Paz with an incredible microscope now that Joel Pozo and everyone else behind him is hitting and he is not? Again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Thank you for tuning in to the St. Louis Cardinals Daily Podcast. Again, my name is Andrew Teuscher. Don't forget to subscribe. I got you guys covered all spring long, all season long. Keep showing it out there and the love in the comment section. You know I'll be down there. And don't forget to tell a loved one, let's go Birds.